Welcome to my little piece of the internet. My name's Pam, my pronouns are she, her, and this is Hobbies and Hyperfocus, which is a Flosstube primarily about cross stitch, although I am now starting to dabble in other kinds of embroidery. So we've got a cat here, Princess. We've got our coffee, we've got our stitching. Let's do this. The first thing, as always, is our tarot of the day. So our tarot of the day, where is my camera? Here it is. Tarot of the day is Two of Swords. So you can see in this one, she has two swords. She's blindfolded. So she's stuck. But this is a self-imposed stuckness. She has to make a decision, one side or the other. And neither of them are great decisions. So this card is an indication that, yes, we recognize that you have two decisions, or two options, and neither of the options are great options. But you got to make some kind of decision. You've got to stop being frozen and you've got to move forward. To me, this is an indication of the feeling that I'm having right now with the political system. Right now we have not had an election called, but it feels like it's imminent. I know that the United States does have an election coming up this year, and again, it seems like there are no good choices. But you have to make a choice, something. You have to do something. You cannot stay stuck. And indecision is just holding you hostage. So you got to move forward. We've got to make some kind of decision, even if it's the lesser of two evils. But perhaps if you think about it, there's more than two ways through. So I had a friend ask me how I set up tarot readings and how I do it. And I don't generally film that. And so I filmed how I shuffled. And this card actually jumped out of the deck this time, which if it jumps out of the deck, that means that it doesn't want you to shuffle. It just wants you, that's just your card. So I chose that card, and this is a new to me deck. Actually, it's a new deck because I just bought it. And it's This Might Hurt deck by Isabella Rotman. And I just bought this one for myself. I know that there's a lot of superstitious beliefs around the idea of having to have your tarot decks gifted to you, but I have not found that that is a true thing. I have bought many of my own tarot decks, and I've never found a difference between them. So, just a little bit of a life update before we go forward. The last couple of weeks, like I should have filmed last week, but I didn't. Sorry, I keep taking my glasses off and on. I'm having a hard time seeing and not seeing because the glasses are actually reading glasses, so they bring things closer to me. But I'm wearing contacts and I can't see things close and far at the same time. So I keep moving back and forth. So, on the 3rd of February, my older daughter Paige and I took a small trip. And this is a trip we decided to do instead of doing Christmas gifts with each other. We were going to do a trip. And we've been planning to do a trip together since she was about 16. And unfortunately, that just didn't happen. When she was 16, I kind of had, I think that was the year her brother was born. Yeah. So I had her brother, and we had gone to Calgary, which is a 5 or 6 hour drive west from here. And we went there to find her grad dress, and we didn't find it because she couldn't find anything. And then COVID happened, and then she started going to school to be a youth care worker, and then she was working in the summer, and like it just never worked out. So this year at Christmas time, she said, how about instead of exchanging gifts, spending money on things that we don't really want or we don't really need, why don't we spend some quality time with each other and we plan a trip? So we tried to figure out where we were going to go. And originally, the original trip was going to be going to Toronto, which is relatively easy to get to, but it's very expensive. So we looked at Toronto, and then we looked at Vancouver, and we looked at Montreal, which neither of us have ever been to. And then we were like, well, how about we go to the Atlantic Ocean? Why don't we go to Atlantic Canada? Because neither of us have ever been to Atlantic Canada. And I had always heard it was called the Maritimes, but now it's actually Atlantic Canada. So we looked at Halifax, and we looked at Charlottetown, and then we looked at St. John's, Newfoundland, which is actually the furthest point east that you can get to in Canada. And we actually went to the furthest point east. So we decided to go to St. John's, and we decided that we were going to do it in February. So we went February 3rd to 8th. And it was actually, I thought we were going to get stuck in a snowstorm, because the Atlantic region is known at this time of year for having really bad snowstorms. Like Halifax was hit the same day we got there with a snowstorm that I think it was 5 feet of snow, which is exactly how tall I am. And as we were coming back from St. John's, there were people still in the St. John's airport trying to get from St. John's to Halifax. I think they'd been routed from other places, like I know that there were some people from England. So I think that they had come from England and they were trying to get to Halifax, or they were trying to get down to down in that area, and they got routed to St. John's, and they were still stuck in the airport 3 days after we landed. But we went all over St. John's, like we drove everywhere in that St. John's region. And they did have an ice storm which did shut down the government buildings on the Tuesday we were there. So we had tried to go to a museum called The Rooms, and we got there and we had breakfast in the rooms. We're watching the bay, or the port. I think it's a bay. And the rain was pouring against the windows and everything. We're like, okay, well, it's raining. We kind of expect that from the Atlantic area. And there's wind, and you can see the waves and everything pounding against the shore. But we were like, okay, it's just rain. It's just wind. It's not terrible. When then we got finished lunch, we went to go look at the exhibits. And suddenly, as we're walking into the first exhibit, it's like 10:30. So like it opens at 10:30. They announce that the rooms will be closing in 15 minutes due to weather. And we're like, really? So we kind of looked around for a little while until the guy was like, no, you really have to go. We're closing. So we laughed and we're like, okay, they close things down. Is it dangerous? Like, we're not from this area. Is this dangerous weather? And we were looking outside and it's kind of raining and it's kind of sleeting. but they're salting the roads and they're scraping the roads, and we're like, I don't think that it's that dangerous. But just in case, we went back to our Airbnb, and we texted my daughter's boyfriend. His mother is from, where did she say? Somewhere in Newfoundland, but she's from Newfoundland, and she had lived in St. John's. She was like, well, if they think it's dangerous, and they're telling you they're closing everything, it's best to just go back and get some stuff from Sobeys and stay in for a bit. So we went to Sobeys and we got some stuff. And we had no problem getting there. We had no problem getting back. It was windy, it was rainy, but it was like not we weren't slipping. There was no issue with the car. So we're like, okay, is it really dangerous? And we're like, no, it isn't dangerous. Like, we can drive in this. We've driven in the weather like this in the spring in Saskatchewan all the time. So, well, let's go up. So we decided we were going to go to Signal Hill, which is a high point. I'll put like a picture if I can up here. It's like this high point, and there's, I guess, like a light, or there was army barracks up there or something. I can't remember which was which. But the official place was closed because it was a government building. So we went up there, and we're like looking around and seeing the ocean and standing by the edge, and just got blown off. And then we went back to the Airbnb, and we're like, okay, now what? Everything's closed. So we really wanted to go out and have like supper one of the nights in a pub or something, like an Irish pub. But we never did get to do that. The first night we got there, we'd been traveling for 14 hours. And so we just went to the Airbnb, and we got some groceries on the way in and just had supper there. And the second night we were kind of worried with everybody shutting everything down. So we stayed in that night. And so, yeah, we didn't get to go to any Irish pubs, but on the next day, on the Wednesday, we got to go to, where did we go? We went to, I'll have to look it up. It was the most easterly point in Canada. And yeah, I have a picture where I took of the plaque that says this is the most easterly point of Canada. And then we did drive around until we found a beach, because one of my things was I had to touch the ocean, because I've never been to the ocean, and it was colder than ice water. But it is February, so what did I really expect the ocean to feel like? And it was kind of wild, like just a lot of wind and waves. And we were gonna go on a ferry, but the ferry got closed because of the weather on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday we had so many other things we wanted to do. We went to the rooms on Wednesday. We went to the beach. We went to, I don't think it was Signal Hill. It was another one. Another big, there was a lighthouse that you could go up to, but we didn't go up to the lighthouse. I'll have to look it up. I'll have to put it up here, what the name of the place was. But we did have our 3-day adventure in Newfoundland, and we were told by everybody that we met in Newfoundland, you should come back in the summer. It's nicer in the summer. So I think that there was a lot of question as to why are the Flatlanders coming to the ocean in February? Like, what's wrong with these people? So we did have an adventure. though 14 hours in airports in Canada overnight was kind of an adventure as well. We ended up going from Saskatoon at 9 o'clock. We went to Calgary, stayed in Calgary, went from Calgary all the way to Toronto, stayed in Toronto, got delayed in Toronto because of the weather, and then went from Toronto further east to St. John's. And then on the way back, we were just St. John's to Toronto, Toronto to Saskatoon. We did all the late night flights, so it was really exhausting. But it was a good trip, and I think we're hoping to do another trip. Maybe not next year, but maybe in a few years. We're going to start saving up and maybe do a little bit of a longer trip. I've always wanted to go to Ireland since I was very, very little. I have a thing with Ireland. And so, as my mom called, or as somebody told me, I couldn't get to Ireland, so I went to Ireland Light, because Newfoundland was a colony of Ireland. And that was my adventures for the month. We're here for the stitching, so let's start with the stitching. And I'm gonna, because I can't see anything, so I'm gonna put my glasses back on. Okay, so the first one, now I have decided that I've given up on Whip Go because I just couldn't build the board. All the indecisiveness, I'm not gonna do that. So what I did decide to do is I'm gonna do five nights of at least 2 hours at a time, and I'm gonna just rotate through all of my whips. So the first one that I did, I'm gonna see if I have a picture. If I don't, you won't see anything up here. If I do have a picture of where it was last time I showed it, I will put it up here. I think it was just that, the center. So this is, of course, No Time Like the Present. I'm sorry, I'm not even going to try that in Latin because I can't speak Latin. But it's No Time Like the Present by Modern Folk Embroidery, and this is the 2024 stitch along. I think that there's some kind of way that it's broken up that you're supposed to stitch every section. I think it's 10 sections. But I just started in the middle, because if I don't put it in the middle, it's going to be off center on me, and I don't want that. So I took this pattern with us when we went to Newfoundland, because again, even though it's on 40 count, this is 40 count Verdal, and it is December Fabric of the Month by Dying for Cross Stitch. Even though it's a 40 count, there's only 2 colors and it's a digital pattern. So this made it a lot easier for me to carry with me, because I only needed to have the 2 skeins of floss, a needle, my scissors, and my tablet. And I could put that all in one of my travel project bags. And while I was in Newfoundland, I did all of the numbers. So like, and then I counted, and I'm starting down here. The next 5 days will be down here. And I'm going to do the green stuff and up and around. And I think what I'm going to do with the animals is, so that the animals are neither brown nor green, I'm going to put them in 3371, which is dark brown, so that they just kind of pop. Just because even when I do like my long dogs, as you'll see, I tend to like have the animals in a different color. So I decided to follow that through. And this is my first time also stitching with 40 count Verdal rather than 40 count linen. And I'm really loving this, because it's very soft and very easy to work with. And I can see it as long as I have my magnifiers on, because it's a light colored fabric. So that was the first 5 days that I did, and my travel stitching. And after that, I moved on to my mermaids of the seasons. Now you can see this is the autumn mermaid. You can see the summer mermaid, the spring mermaid is the green one. This one's blue. I don't know if I have a picture of where I was before, but I was further along before. Over here I had more of the tail done before, and I realized I was out by 2 or 3 stitches in 2 or 3 different places. So I pulled it all out and I restarted, and this is my 5 days on this one. I'm almost, like, if I do 5 more days, I think I should be able to get her the DMC done. And then I gotta get my button gear and order some of the fancy flosses, the Krynex and the beads from 123 Stitch, so I can finish this off, because I really love these mermaids. You can kind of see. You can also see all the cat and dog hairs, because cat and dogs. So this is these 2 stitches are not like a blub or anything. This is the 2 stitches that will go on. I think I did this little design in the corner. That's the corner design down there. And it pulls in the colors. So this one pulls in the blues. The other ones pull in the pinks, greens, or yellows. So this is on 32 count. Singing in the Rain by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. And this is my second attempt at a Bella Filipina. I just don't want to take it out of the nerge because I'm going to be working on it again, and I find it's very difficult to get it back into the nerge. And then, actually, I have one that I finished, but I don't have it down here. I left it at my office because I had finished it. I will put in a picture of it. It is the February design from the 2024 Stitch for Pride Stitch Along that is hosted by Dee's 20 Stitches. And this was Kende. I cannot remember any of the names today, but I will show you the thing that I finished, and I decided to do it 1/1 on the 28 count. And so it's teeny. It's in a teeny tiny frame at my office. And yeah, I totally failed. I know I read all the stuff and I watched all the videos, and now because I'm in front of the camera, my brain has turned off and I cannot remember. Kahende, I know, is his first name, and he is a portrait artist who does modern interpretations of classic, like, European style art, but brings modern black artists or black characters into this art. And it is really very beautiful, and I wish I could tell you more about it, but my brain has completely turned off. Okay, and then after I did my Stitch for Pride, I decided I have been ignoring my mermaid. So I think I have a picture of where I was here. And that, I think the last time I had done anything on her was November, September. And this is where I've gotten now. So I've done quite a bit of this here, and almost all of this down here. And all these little areas here that you see that don't have stitching, those are actually supposed to be filled in with Krynex and beads. And again, I will always do that last. So this is actually the finished piece. And I'm struggling with this because I had to, again, rip this out a couple times. Because it's a paper pattern and I'm struggling hard with paper patterns. I have not figured out a way to use the paper pattern. Like, it, I can scan it into a PDF, but I can't do anything with it because I can't get it into Pattern Maker, because the pages don't go in the right order, and I don't know how to get them into the right order. So I'm just doing it old school and I've got working copies, and I just use a marker to let myself know where it is. But then if I make a mistake, it's harder to figure out how to fix it. And yeah, it's a thing. So this is on 32 count opalescent Treasure Medium, or Treasure Dark. Again, dyeing from cross stitch, and you can kind of see, it's opalescent, so it's kind of sparkly. This is my first time ever actually working on an opalescent, and this is after 5 days of 2-hour sessions. So she might someday get done. I'm hoping this year, but I don't know. Last but not least, I started last night, and this is my variant of interest, which is my long dog sampler. And see, here you can see where I've done the dark brown for the animals. So the bunnies, rabbits, that's another bunny. This one I think is a squirrel or a lizard. I think he's a squirrel. Ducks, or geese over here. And I really only put in like one session. So I did this little tiny sorry. So last, my variant of interest, which is my long dog sampler. This is to go along with the other one that I have done, which is Pandemic. And so I'm trying to get this a good look here. I started, this is my day 1 of 4 or 5, and I just did this bit here. So I think this is a little squirrel. So I have a squirrel. There's my cat. It's really, can you see him? This is my cat Princess. Otherwise she would be brown because it's a cat, but my cat is white, so I put a white cat in there. All the other animals I do are brown, and I'm doing it on a 40 count Lakeside, Picture This Plus Nocturne, which is a nice mottled gray blue color one. And I'm doing it with 601, 602, and 603, and then 2271. And white, because Princess. And so this is like day 1 of 5, and I already had to pull out a bunch here because I was off by 1. And it wouldn't really matter, except for this section then builds onto another section. So if you are off, it does tend to like cause issues. But this is where I am with my long dog. I think this is one of my older ones now, because as of last year, as of 2023, I am now a polygamous stitcher, not a monogamous stitcher. And this is one of the ones I started last February. So this is like pretty much my oldest whip. And that is all for my works in progress. Now, new purchases. My newer tarot deck. So I bought this just before I went on holidays. And I didn't even know that this was one that Michelle Bendy Stitchy has been using. I just saw it on the website and thought, this is a really pretty deck. I also purchased, when I was in Newfoundland, I purchased an embroidery kit. So this is like a folk embroidery kit. So it comes with the hoop, and so you got the hoop, and you've got the fabric, and you've got some wool, or not wool, cotton. Now it doesn't say DMC, but I noticed when I was looking at it, it does say was it? There was one place that it said colors on here. So it says 1 820, 2 3 844s, which is that bright blue, which I have 13 of those right now, and 1 3841, which I have several of those as well. So if I ever run out, if I've screwed it up, the only one I'm going to have a hard time with is the 820, the dark, this one, because I have many of these from my long dog, my first long dog. But I thought, I've only ever done embroidery once. I think I did it when I was in Girl Guides. So I figured I'd try it. I've been doing quite a bit of black work this last year. And this is from a company called Hook, Line, Tinker. Hook, Line, and Tinker. And it is from Nova Scotia. Yeah, the company is from Nova Scotia. And it's made with Micmac ancestral, with Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded lands of the Micmac people. And they donate 5% of profits to help women and children experiencing homelessness. So I thought, I bought this at the rooms because I want to try embroidery, and it looked like it just seemed like a really cool way to try embroidery. And then when you're done, it's finished on a hoop, just like my black work was. So I thought that was great. And the last thing to share is my exchange from the Kitted Up swap. I got my Kitted Up swap just as I got back from Newfoundland. Why I can't remember where I'm going and what I'm doing. It's like, oh my god. I got it the day I came back from Newfoundland, and it was from Anna Meyer. So Anna Books and Stitches. Got a pretty little card with the glitters, so much glitters. And she sent me, this explains the whole thing. The fabric is Luminous Fiber Arts Pattern B, and then Flannel Flower from Fox and Rabbit, and Mystery Linen. So we have this one, which is Luminous Fiber Arts. It's a squirrel with a bird gathering acorns. So it's really cute. So we have like, it's all done in one color, so it's monochromatic, which is kind of good, because then, and then Quirky Quaker Frog, which I actually have. This is a digital copy, so now I have what do they call it, the trading card, for the pattern. I want to do this one, and I have the digital, and I never did it, so it only has three colors, so it's really not that hard to do. Interestingly enough, this designer from St. John's, Newfoundland. So then with that comes the mystery linen for the frog, and an 1/8 for the luminous for the other one, the gathering acorns. So this is by Fox and Rabbit. I think it's 18 count. I don't usually use Ada. I'm not an Ada stitcher at all, so I think it's 18 count. But I'm also very interested in using Fox and Rabbit because I've never been able to get a hold of their linen or Ada. And it came in this cute little sheer baggy thing, which is so cute. And then it had a little baggy thing that has the flosses in it. So she gave me, come on, does one come out? So I think with her, this was one that she ordered for her, I think Anna is using this for, or had ordered this as part of her No Time Like the Present. So this is Mrs. Seda Silk, and it's so soft. I've never been able to get a hold of silk, but I think I'm going to use that for these acorns. Ah! I dropped everything on the floor. I think the plan for this was that I think, maybe, because it's kitted up, so you're supposed to be able to do a whole project with it, right? So I think this one is supposed to go like with this. Well, that's not really a squirrel color, so maybe I'll use it for something else. And then this is also Mrs. Seda Silk in forest. That one is mountain, this one is forest. They're so soft. This is for the frog. And then I dropped the other one, and she said this is a Gloriana, but she doesn't know what color. Again, silk. And then she sent bobbin needles, which are the ones I usually use, and some scissors, but I have them in one of my project bags already because I'm using them. They're cute and they have little cupcakes on them. So thank you, Anna. I know I didn't post on Instagram about it. I haven't started a project with it, but it's just because, yeah, Anna understands. Anna is, I think she said she was an accounting tech or an accounting person, and for her it's the busy season, and for me it's the busy season because I work kind of adjacent to accounting. My job is in property management, and this is the time of the year where we do the commercial reconciliations. So I spend 99% of my day trying to figure out what people did pay, what they should have paid, and what we owe them or they owe us. So it's my busy season, it's her busy season. I did reach out and say thank you to her, and my partner that I sent to was Becky, and she is known as Aslan's Cub, and she really liked what I sent her. I actually sent her the entire kit for setting up, like linen, or not linen, she asked for even weave. So even weave and all the flosses and a pair of scissors and gold-plated needles. I sent her all of it so that she could do Aspen Mandala by Ink Circles. That's what all those fabric, all that floss was for, that I showed a couple episodes ago. So that is all that I've done and all that I'm doing currently. I will finish the 4 more days on my variant of interest. I might then move on. I'd like to pick up another one or spend some more time on my Sea Witch, which I showed last time and haven't done anything else with. So I don't know what my plans are. I'm not gonna even try because as soon as I turn off the camera, I'm gonna forget it anyway, because that's how my brain's working right now. As I said, my brain has just been fried because of the whole work situation. Also at work, my co-worker, I don't know how you'd explain it. Technically at one point she used to be my assistant, and now we do the same job, so I'm technically her supervisor, but we do the same job. And she has told them that she is expecting in June. So I'm kind of up in the air right now as to, are they gonna hire somebody? Are they gonna hire just coverage? We have been asking for a third person for 3 years now to help out, just somebody to help doing some of the things that we are not swamped at this time of the year. Like I mentioned, this week we are all off because the kids are off school for a week. February 19th today is a holiday, and then 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd are all days off for our kids. So because the kids are off, there's just like, I can't afford daycare for 2 kids, and they can't agree on a camp to go to. So I'm at home with them, and I work from home, and generally a lot of people take this week off. This is one of the weeks people take off, and they'll go on a vacation. In Saskatchewan, we usually have 2 school breaks. Well, technically 3. So we'd have Christmas school break, which is before Christmas till after New Year's. And then February break, which coincides with our university reading week. So this week. And then we also take a week off at Easter. So from Good Friday and then that entire week after. But because of the way our workload is, neither her or I can take this week off, so we're working from home. And it would be really nice if we had a little bit of assistance so that she could take a break, since she's not been feeling, I don't think she's been feeling well. She's been like out of breath for a while. But it would have been nice for us to have a little bit of help. And we've been saying that. But now with her going on mat leave, she'll sometime in June, she gets a year off. So from June to June at minimum. And in Canada, she can choose to take 18 months off. It just doesn't matter whether you take 12 months or 18, you get the same amount of money. So like they just, instead of it being 12 equal payments, it's 18 equal payments over the amount of time. So she has the option to take 18 months. So if that happens, we have to find, like, I'm hoping that they're going to hire somebody and that we can then keep that person. But the way it seems to be going is it's likely that we're going to hire a virtual assistant. So somebody in India or Manila, rather than a person here in Saskatoon. And that means that I will be back to being the supervisor and in charge of things again, which isn't horrible, but it also means that this is like year 3 of me not being able to take full vacations because of things that have come up. And I now have just carryover from 2023, I had 18 days. And because I've been working there for 10 years now, I now get 20 days for this year. So I have to take 38 days. And I was originally going to take 15 of those days to do the trip with my mom, which now can't happen because of her lymphoma. But even if it wasn't the lymphoma, even if the doctors could clear her and we hadn't canceled the trip, now that my coworker is going on mat leave at that time, I can't really leave at that time either. So I can't be gone for 15 days as supervisor of department when we're going to have a switchover at that time. And like, it's all very up in the air. So that's kind of where that is. So I just don't know what my plans are. I'm going to hopefully stitch up something for the Smalls Exchange for Stitch North. and get together potential goodie bags for Stitch North. I did book my flights to Toronto. Luckily, I will be landing around 11 a.m. Originally, the only option that I had was to come in at 11 p.m. and then I'd have to figure out how to get from Toronto or Mississauga to Brampton, which I don't know where Brampton is from Toronto, and I'm pretty sure that I would be the only one coming in at that time, so I'd have to figure out how to get there. So if I come in at 11 a.m. then I have a lot more time to get to Brampton, and I'm pretty sure that there's a train or something. Anyway, I'm just babbling now. I am working on figuring out Smalls Exchange for Stitch North. I'm going to try and determine what I'm going to bring as gift bags for my table mates. I think they said there's 7 people at a table. 7 or 8. So I'll do 8. And that will happen the week after I turn 50. I am kind of bouncing around what I want to start for my 50th. I originally thought I wanted to do it chatelaine, but trying to find all the material for a chatelaine is difficult, very difficult. And I think with a chatelaine I need to have scroll bars or something, because you have to bead as you go. It's just, there's just too much to do it any other way. So I'd have to like invest in that kind of stuff. So I might just start one of the pretty ladies that I already have. And I have a variety of them. So it shouldn't really be a difficult thing to do. I just have to decide and do it. But that's all the stitching news for now. And yeah, it's just the bottom now. It's not his head. So I'm gonna say goodbye for now. And if you watched this far, thank you. And if you're new here, thank you for watching. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. If you like what I do, you can like, you can subscribe, leave a comment, let me know where you're from, and I'll see you later. Bye. Let's draw a tarot card. Now, I've always struggled with shuffling cards. I've never really learned how to do it. So I do it super awkwardly. The thing is, you have to shuffle 3 times. And then cut 3 times. Oops, that's not equal. And sometimes a card just leaps out of the deck. Got the 2 of Swords. 2 of Swords. Let's see what the book says about this one. I am trying to learn intuitive tarot, but I'm not super good at it. Swords. 2 of Swords. Oh, here. You have 2 options, and both of them are bad. 2 of Swords is a crossroads. The woman holds 2 knives crossed in front of her. The tide comes in. She is still wearing a blindfold that she could easily cut off. She is frozen by indecision and unable to see a way forward. Unfortunately, the only way out of this situation is to pick a sword. Maybe you're in denial, unable to think clearly, or maybe you honestly don't know what the right choice is. Regardless, you procrastinated long enough, face the situation, as objectively as you can. The problem isn't going to go away just because you ignore it. Two of Swords. And then I did 2 hours of stitching on this. Isn't he wonderful? He's so wonderful. He's so wonderful. This is Lord Marshmallow. The once.
The first.
The first. He is so cute. And I stitched him. Isn't he wonderful?
No, you didn't.
I stitched him. He is fabric and lace. Okay.
Let's finish my blanket.
Okay.